All rise.
They were expecting a much taller person. Thank you, everybody. Please be seated. I would like to welcome all of you to the investiture for Linda Wallace. Many of you probably already don't know her or do know her, but if you don't know her, please meet the Honorable Judge Linda Wallace. So this is a formal proceeding, and so you can see that we have all of the judges with the exception of the Honorable Judge Salehe Hancock, who's covering emergency hearings with us here this afternoon. I'd like to take a quick opportunity to introduce, can you guys hear me okay? Can you hear me okay? So we've got Judge Phelan on the end. We've got the Honorable Michael Bluff here with us as well, sitting next to Judge Wallace. We've got Judge Rep, Judge Goldstein, Judge Erickson, Judge Carmen, and Judge McGill. Judge McGill is absolutely ecstatic because we swore him in last week and he doesn't have to do it this week. So he is thrilled about that. So the purpose of this afternoon is to formally welcome Judge Wallace to the bench and have her take the oath of office. And we are just delighted to have her. We have a great speaker who's going to be speaking after me. I'm going to try and keep my comments to a minimum. People tell me I talk too much, so I'm trying to work on that a little bit. What I would like to say is Judge Wallace was one of the very first judges that ever appeared in front of me as an attorney. I was a brand new, as she was an attorney, I was the judge. And my practice was primarily in Prescott. When I was appointed to the bench, I was assigned to the Verde Valley, and I didn't know a lot of the lawyers who were out here. I didn't know the legal community very well, and Linda was one of the very first people who appeared in my courtroom. And I've got to say the way I first became familiar with Linda was through her written product. As a judge, you end up reading all sorts of materials, and I think all of the judges up here would agree with me that all of the work that we receive is top-notch and fantastic. But Linda's was a cut above. And I remember reading some of her pleadings and going out to my staff and asking who this Wallace person was. And they said, oh, it's Linda Wallace. She's an attorney in town. And I said, well, she's really, really, really good work. Like, just an outstanding writer. I'm looking forward to having her in my court. And I remember having a hearing, and I think it was a family law case, and Linda walked into the courtroom, and well, I didn't see her walk into the courtroom. I came out to the courtroom. She was sitting at counsel table, and she started to talk to me about her case. And I remember just sitting there thinking to myself, why am I up here and is she down there? Because she belongs up here. And if that's the level of practice in the Verde Valley, I belong down there. And so I was absolutely thrilled to have her in my court. Another thing that an honest judge will tell you is that when they first take the bench, you really don't have a clue in the world what you're doing. Fair enough? Everyone kind of giggles. The honest ones are giggling. The rest are, and oftentimes, especially if you are judging in an area of the law that you are not familiar with, which I was not, you often need a learned counsel to take you by the hand and walk you through where you are. And Linda was always gracious enough to me to take me by the hand and walk me through. And so when this spot came open, that she's now filling. And I had the opportunity to appoint someone to our bench. I was ecstatic to appoint Linda Wallace as our newest pro tem. In fact, I might have been using back channels, every back channel I could find to say, hey, get Linda to apply, get Linda to apply. So we are just so absolutely lucky to have her, and everything that I've heard since she has been on the bench is nothing other than she is an outstanding person and an outstanding jurist. And I'm just so deeply thankful that she accepted when we made her the offer. So thank you, Judge Wallace. Okay, I would like to turn it over to Dr. Dustin Rayhorn to come on up, and he has a few words that he'd like to say on behalf of Judge Wallace as well. Welcome to you, Mr. Schwartz. There are plenty of seats. Find one, my friend. It's good to see you as always.
All right, well, thank you. Thank you very much, and good afternoon, everyone. My name is Dustin Rayhorn, and I'm a pediatric hospitalist and chair of the Department of Medicine at Phoenix Children's Hospital. And I'm honored to be here today for the investiture of my dear friend, Linda Wallace. She's been a friend of mine for over 30 years. And over the next 90 minutes, I will weave a tapestry on the life. Did I say 90 minutes? I meant 9 to 10 minutes. 9 to 10 minutes. I apologize for that. I think it's the nerves of being a physician called to a courtroom to present in front of the judges. So sorry about that. Well, I first met Linda back in September of 1989. My family and I had just moved to a new neighborhood in North Phoenix, and I was the new kid in class. Looking like a fish out of water in this new environment, I was placed by my new teacher at a table with a studious and trustworthy girl named Linda Bagley. Now, clearly, Miss Cristofanelli knew what she was doing, putting this scruffy-looking malcontent like me with somebody who could guide me along the path. I recall being quite intimidated upon entering this classroom, but I was able to sit with somebody who was willing to mentor me on this new etiquette in this new environment and instill appropriate knowledge and respect of my classroom's new rules. Throughout our grade school, junior high, and high school, Linda and I shared numerous classes together. In these classes, we both developed a shared core group of friends that we grew and learned with. I believe that this group of friends shared a similar quality, and that was a desire to serve others. We bonded over volunteer work in our studies, and this group churned out some amazing people. This group churned out lawyers and doctors and scientists and first responders and engineers. And I believe that growing up in this group truly shaped Linda's life and her desire to serve others. Not only did this peer group hone Linda's ideals and goals, but her family played a significantly more important role in shaping the person that we see here today. I had the amazing pleasure over the years to get to know Linda's family, the Bagleys. Sisters Mary and Michelle and brothers John, Brian, Kevin, and Tom, in no particular order, none at all, but these were key figures in the Bagley household. Every single one played a huge part in instilling the beliefs and desires of the person we honor here today. Even guest appearances by Aunt Miriam inspired the light and humor that we see in Linda today. I also got to enjoy numerous tableside conversations with the Bagley parents, John and Jean, who lovingly called me Justin, so I called them Don and Dean. Now, I believe initially they didn't know what my name was, and over time, I think they were just giving me crap. But it was a wonderful relationship that I developed with them, and it was where I learned that John and Jean created a wonderfully supportive environment that allowed their amazing children to grow into incredible citizens. And Linda, your parents would be so proud of you today. As Linda and I moved forward in our education after high school, we both attended the University of Arizona in Tucson. Though our educational paths started to kind of diverge, our desire to serve others continued to be strong. I moved towards a career in medicine, and Linda moved towards a career in law. And she showed this burgeoning passion for law and its impact on people and society as a whole. She attacked her LSATs. And she confused the heck out of me with all these logic puzzles. My goodness gracious, what are they doing to you guys in the LSATs? She was then accepted to the James E. Rogers College of Law at the University of Arizona, where she went to serve on the law review, and she pushed her knowledge of law even further. Often, Linda and I would hang out and discuss what our respective educational paths were like. I would discuss topics like gross anatomy, clinical conundrums, histology, neurology, pickenology. I'm sure I brought it up. Linda talked about case law. She talked about the philosophical challenges that law has to address. And over the course of these conversations, Linda learned how disgusting medicine can be. And I, on the other hand, learned truly how amazing and impactful the legal system is to our society. Because when you really get down to it, society is truly just a shared set of ideas, beliefs, and ideals. Laws are enacted to support and protect these ideas, beliefs, and ideals. And lawyers, judges, the court staff work together to promote justice under these laws. Though this is exceptionally a simplistic view of what our society and law is like, it must be clearly understood that there is a tremendous importance and honor in the legal profession, a profession that supports society as a whole and aims to prevent chaos. Following law school, Linda married Bob Wallace, whom she met while volunteering for the American Cancer Society. Bob, who I also consider a very dear friend, Bob is a registered nurse who serves his patients and performs volunteer work to enrich the lives of others. Bob has been a tremendous support in Linda's legal career and an amazing partner in her life. Together, they moved to Sedona, where Linda began serving the people of Yavapai County as a lawyer. As her practice grew, Linda took great joy in shepherding her clients through the legal processes. When we would meet up for coffee or a meal, it was incredible to witness the passion that Linda had for serving the people. She clearly understood the tremendous responsibility of her role in serving the lives of her clients. With this being said, it was no surprise to me back in January when Linda told me that she was applying to serve as a judge pro temp in Yavapai County under presiding Judge John Napper. I was so excited for her because I sincerely believe that she will excel in this role. And though I know that Linda is perfect in this position, I felt I should do my own research on the qualities that make a good judge, just to be sure. So like many of the parents of my patients, I went to Google. So in medicine, we refer to Google as Dr. Google. So I was wondering, like in law, do you refer it to like Judge Google or your search engine honor? Like what do we call it? Regardless, I went to Google and clicked on the first link I saw. Of course, the first link I saw. And it led me to an article by Stephen Platt entitled A Pursuit of Justice. In reading this article, a number of traits of a good judge jumped out to me, and not just because they were bolded and in larger font, okay? The traits that jumped out started with judicial temperament. Judges must be patient, open-minded, courteous, understanding, compassionate, and having common sense. Linda checks all these boxes. Other traits that a good judge must have are intelligence, ethics, integrity, courage, experience and education, the ability to communicate, a civic and professional responsibility, and character. Linda exhibits all of these traits. In fact, if there was a WebMD version for law, like a WebJD, okay, if we plugged all of these symptoms for Linda into a WebJD, it would diagnose her as 100% judge, okay? The amazing thing is that you could have told me that Linda would become a judge way back in grade school when we met, and I would have believed you. I would have absolutely believed you. Now, don't let the fact that in grade school I also believed in a magical character who was running a money for dentition scheme. Like, don't let that fact shade your understanding of my belief system. But I would have believed that she would have become a judge. She's always had these foundations of the qualities of a good judge since her youth. Those qualities have been fortified and developed over her life with the support and guidance of her parents, her siblings and their families, her husband and his family, and her amazing circle of friends. Thank you, Linda, for allowing me to be a part of this journey, and my sincerest congratulations to you. I would also like to congratulate Judge Napper as well as the people of Yavapai County on this momentous day. Thank you.
From Judge Google to Dr. Google, thank you very much, sir. We appreciate you. Linda, if you'll come on up now, we'll administer the oath. Would you come on this side? All right, so I'm going to apologize on the front end. I get nervous when I read in front of a lot of people. We read, Linda responds back. I tend to read in way too large chunks. So if you see Linda freeze, it's my fault because I've read way too much at a time. So I'm apologizing on the front end. All right. I, please state your name.
I, Linda Wallace,
Do solemnly affirm
do solemnly affirm
that I will support the Constitution of the United States
that I will support the Constitution of the United States
and the Constitution and laws of the state of Arizona,
and the Constitution and laws of the state of Arizona,
that I will bear true faith and allegiance to the same
that I will bear true faith and allegiance
and defend them against all enemies,
and defend them against all enemies,
foreign and domestic, and that I will faithfully and
and that I will faithfully
and impartially discharge
discharge
the duties of the office of Superior Court Judge Pro Tempore
the duties of the office of the Superior Court Judge Tory.
Yes. My fault, not hers. According to the best of my ability.
According to the best of my ability.
So do I affirm.
So do I affirm.
Congratulations, Judge Wallace. Yep.
So
I'd like to invite Judge Wallace's husband up to place the robe.
We actually practiced this. All right. Thank you, Bob, for getting all the Velcro in the right place. Thank you, Dustin, for your speech. I appreciate you. Before I thank everyone here, I want to address some common questions that I received once I became a judge. So these came up more than once. I'm going to share with you all of the answers. So question number one, most commonly asked, do you love having a gavel? We don't get a gavel. People are so disappointed in that answer. One of my colleagues obtained her own gavel, and where is she? There. For use in family law cases. I also get asked a lot, are you going to wear a Ruth Bader Ginsburg collar? And I don't think they let us mess with these until like we're a justice. So not time yet. What is the biggest change between private practice and being a judge? So one of the biggest things I've noticed, when you are in private practice, you are on the phone, you are doing email all the time, and I have none of that. Judge Goldstein told me when I had this job, he's like, you will dust off your phone. You will use it that little. It's like, wow, that's all I did before is phone and email. Another question I've been asked at least a couple times is, are you the judge's wife? Yes.
Oh, yes.
And the last most frequently common question I've been asked is, does your husband Bob have to call you Your Honor? And to that I would say, I only expect him to say it sarcastically, like if Your Honor would unload the dishwasher. So I want to thank you all for coming to my investiture. I owe a lot of gratitude. I want you to know that I'm aware of my good fortune. I'm very fortunate my choice of spouse. Bob and I have been dating for over 20 years, and he met me before law school, before I was accepted to law school, and yet he stayed. He didn't run screaming. It's not an easy thing to witness, but Bob is so kind and he loves people. He's amazingly supportive, and it's been a pleasure to share my life with him. Family, I'm just going to prepare you. This is going to take a little bit of time. I'll start with my parents, both of whom are deceased. I was very fortunate that my parents valued education and family. And I know that my mom would be very upset if I did not tell you. When I was little, I would always ask her, what are the rules? And she's like, what? I don't know. But Mom, what are the rules? And if she had shown me the rule book and the statutes, I would have left it alone. I would have been like, okay, if that's the rules, I don't need to know anymore. My Aunt Miriam. So she is actually on Zoom, although we can't see her. She is amazing. She's 91 years old. She's all our favorite aunts. She's a way better aunt or uncle than any of us. Like, we are terrible in comparison. She has something like, she counts all of the in-laws like they're her nieces and nephews, and she sends birthday, Christmas. A couple years ago, it was like 56 of us, nieces and nephews. But knowing my family, there's many more that have popped up since that stat was taken. Also, I want to thank my siblings. So I am the youngest of 7. And when you have 6 older siblings and you have the age gap, and yes, I am the youngest in case you are wondering, your siblings also end up raising you. They taught me how to read, how to light matches, how to ride a bike. And they also valued education, so that when I started college, all 6 of them already had their college degrees, and they all had words of advice for me. And one of them even offered me $100 for every F, $75 for every D, $50 for every C, and nothing for A's and B's. Because he wanted me to pay more attention to other things in life. And I don't think I ever got the money for organic chemistry. But they've always been a good reminder that there's more to life than work, and we enjoy each other. I'm grateful for the support of my friends, many of whom are here, many of whom have known me for a long time. Some have known me since I had poodle bangs in 5th grade. Some of you have known me since junior high. We've got friends here who've known me since high school and law school. So thank you for coming. I'm fortunate to live in the Sedona community. So there's a big difference between living in a small town and living in a big town. In a small town, you can't make obscene gestures to other drivers because you will run into them in the grocery store next time. You have to be a nicer and more considerate person than when you live in a bigger city. And I appreciate the small town community of Sedona and the Rotary Club of Sedona, which produced friends as well, and Camp Sunrise. And we have some camp counselors here. I've always said when you refer to camp people, it sounds like you're talking about carnies, but they're very nice, very safe people. I want to thank the selection committee. I know they had to put a lot of volunteer hours into the selection, and for the judges that I've appeared before for supporting me. I want to thank Judge Napper for appointing me as well. I want to echo something that Judge McGill said last week, which is he's found that this bench is very warm and welcoming, and I will tell you that I have also found that to be true. In fact, it's so nice to also have something like law partners again, because it's been a long time. I haven't had a supervisor for a really long time, and I'm just going to put in a plug for Judge Napper. I told him, I'm like, wow, you're so supportive. This is great. I haven't had this for a long time. And he says, well, it's easy to do when you've got great people. I said, there you go again, being supportive. You just can't shut it off, can you? So I'd like to show my appreciation. When I first moved here, my law partner was Jim Bradley, and he was a retired judge. And he taught me when you read pleadings and someone's weird, that you laugh about it instead of get angry. And I used to hear him laughing in the other office, and I'd run over there and I would say, "What's so funny?" And we talk about it. My former assistant, Timmy McDonald, who is here, who took such compassionate care of my clients. My judicial assistant, since taking this position, Melissa Kraus, she is actually appearing by Zoom, but you can't see her. And my bailiff, David Stewart, for training a new judge and showing me how to do all the behind the scenes stuff. I'd like to thank the court staff, the court reporters, the clerks, especially here in the Verde. Everyone's been very welcoming. And for court administration for putting this on, and the local Yavapai County Bar for the refreshments afterwards. I feel fortunate to have practiced law with such a professional and courteous bar, which felt different than practicing when you had a Phoenix attorney on the other side. Maybe it's when you are in a place where you can't flip off other drivers, you treat everyone a little differently. But this brings me to my soapbox moment. And that is, I believe that the access to justice starts with people having access to attorneys. And I know that Justice Brudenell has been pushing for better access to the courts, and that's a worthwhile endeavor. But people need attorneys too. It's a critical component of our community's access to judgment. We are a rural community that is near the 4th largest judicial district. And I see one of our commissioners in the crowd in that 4th largest judicial district in the country. I feel like we do not have enough local attorneys. Northern Arizona is starting to look more like a legal desert. So if I could make a wish on my investiture, which I think is a thing, I get to make, it would be for more attorneys to practice here, and especially in the realm of family, civil, and guardianship. And I have a big idea and a small idea to help that. The small idea is that I encourage you to take on an intern. My summer intern is here too today. Hi, Zach. But that way you can show students that we have a need in our community and that they have a place here. And the second thing, and this is again my wish, so I get to say it, is that we have a 3rd law school. We have another public university, NAU. We could do another law school. I don't see a reason why the campus couldn't be in Yavapai County. All right, now that I've made my wish, I'm going to ask that you keep serving those in our community, and I will work to do the same. Thank you.
Wishes do come true, so we will keep our fingers crossed. I don't think I ever had poodle bangs, and if I ever wanted them, those days have passed. So we're stuck with what we're stuck with. Look, I just want to, before we close, just say a couple of things. First, we will adjourn, but we're not all going to wander back out. We'll remain in the well of the courtroom. If you want to come up and speak with us, if you want to take photographs, you are free to do so in the courtroom. I know that Judge Wallace really appreciates lots of photographs, so she will be ready, willing, and able for any photographing you wish to do. And I again just want to reiterate how proud I am. One of the proudest moments of my judicial career was the ability to appoint Linda to the bench, and I'm deeply appreciative of her. I remember when I was having these conversations, I came off the bench and Deborah Upham, I don't know if she's here, was the court reporter. And I said, "Who is that lawyer?" And she says, "Oh, that's Linda Wallace. She should be a judge." I was like, okay. So anyway, she made it, and welcome to you. We are all so proud to have you. I know Judge McGill and I often rely on your intellect when we get stumped by things, and our email exchanges are always productive and healthy, and just really proud to have you. So with that, we are adjourned. There are refreshments somewhere in this building. I don't know where they are. You have always wanted to go have a refreshment in an attorney copy room, and today we are fulfilling that wish of yours. So congratulations. you may need to hang around for a minute or two until the refreshments get here, but they are en route. So my pleasure to see everyone, and to the lawyers I haven't seen in a while, it's my great pleasure to see you again. We are formally adjourned. Thank you.
Diane, I'm John. How are you? We met. It's been a while. Yeah. Sure, absolutely. Yeah. Hey, good to see you.